Welcome to this week's episode of Jet Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper and I'm the jet lag guy. I'm starting off by talking about issues at Air India that have emerged. Now, we all know there was a terrible crash on the 12th of June that claimed the lives of 280 people. Air India first came up on my radar on the 28th of May when a pilot who was only 36 years old succumbed to a heart attack after flying an Air India aircraft when a pilot who was only 36 years craft from Srinagar to Delhi. And the high amount of flying time had pilots flying with jet lag, and that's been a great concern. So that came up just before the crash. And it turns out there have been systemic issues with Air India's safety. Three of its Airbus planes flew despite being overdue on checks on emergency equipment, and the company was slow to address the issue. And I get that there are costs to running an airline, but if you're an airline looking to save costs, things like flight meals, in-flight entertainment can be scrapped. Safety can't. I think there needs to be some massive changes at the airline, and I wouldn't be surprised if the CEO was parachuted out. Now, I'm going to go off script here and frankly talk about racism, which is not something I normally talk about on this podcast, not something I normally address here. But there has been a lot of racist commentary and racist jokes, and I use the term very loosely. I'm not going to repeat any of them. I'm not going to give them that dignity that we've seen from the darkest corners of the internet. This is not okay. Remember that this is a crash that has killed almost 300 people. A lot of people have lost loved ones in this crash through no fault of their own, and they're grieving. It's absolutely cruel, and if you're posting this sort of comment, you need to take a good hard look at yourself. Okay, on to now to UFC light heavyweight and mixed martial art champion Khalil Rountree Jr. He's competing in Azerbaijan, which is quite away from his native America. I think he's currently based in Nevada, and Azerbaijan is a whole lot of time zones east. I counted 11 by my calculation. That's a lot. That's about as many as you can do. And as I've said before, east is a beast and west is best. Khalil Rountree Jr. had this to say about jet lag, and I'm going to quote directly. I'm telling you, the jet lag is real. It comes in waves, but we're fighting it. Chris and I are fighting it like we're fighting two men versus a gorilla. The gorilla is the jet lag. Now, I haven't heard jet lag compared to fighting a gorilla before, but I love that turn of phrase. So thanks, Khalil, and best of luck in Azerbaijan. Okay, moving down under to New Zealand. And meanwhile, in New Zealand, melatonin can now be sold over the counter. And this is used a lot in the treatment of jet lag. So it will be available there in 5 milligram tablets up to 10 days supply, or tablets up to 3 milligrams of melatonin. There will also be slow release formulations available up to 2 milligrams. And I recently discussed melatonin dosages with Professor Leon Lack, and you can hear that interview in the channel, the Ending Jet Lag series. And he recommends a lower dose of about 1 milligram in the evening at about 6 p.m., a few hours before you go to bed. So this is an interesting development. Now, of course, I'm not making any dosage recommendations for melatonin. That's something you should discuss with your health professional. But melatonin is now an over-the-counter medication in New Zealand. It's widely available in the US and Canada. You don't even need to go to a pharmacy there. But in Australia, it's only available over the counter to patients over 55 years of age. And finally, a different perspective on jet lag. From Wallpaper magazine, specifically from Wallpaper's design director, Hugo Macdonald. He says, and I'm quoting again, jet lag is an altered state and it can be an enlightened one if we embrace it rather than fight it. He talks about being awake before dawn and watching a city come to life and enjoying and planning for breakfast as much as you would a dinner. I confess, when I travel, if I much as you would a dinner. I confess, get hold of a big English breakfast, actually anything with unlimited amounts of bacon, I'm really happy. And that's this week of Jet Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper. Thank you for your attention. Lag in the News. I'm Steve Jasper. Thank you for your attention. lag in the